Hola, me llamo Sarah, mi apellido es Hanlon, Sarah Hanlon. Soy de Greencastle, Indiana. Mi perra se llama Pinto. Mi perrita se gusta caminar. Um, yo estudio moda en México. Moda en México es muy interesante. La moda en México es muy colorido. Llevamos sombreros. We are wearing sombreros. I'd like to give a little history on the sombrero. Sombrero comes from the word sombre, which means shadow or shade. They were worn by southern Estados Unidos workers and northern Mexican workers. And they've become kind of a product of jokes and silliness rather than really a product of the hardworking people. And sombrero has become an official word in the English language along with the Spanish one. I'd like to give a little history on the fashion in Mexico. I think we're all kind of familiar with a colorful country, being very rich in colors and embroidery and textures. Pleats and ruffles were very popular along with adornments. They were very colorful and fancy. But a big turn in fashion came during World War II in the 1940s with fashion. There was a lot of rationing with fabrics and metals, so the adornments and pleats and ruffles became a thing of the past as the more simple, straighter lines became the norm. People really needed to focus on, basically, instead of fashion, they needed to take over the workforce. So that's when kind of women became really contributing to the work efforts by wearing pants. They would have to wear pants to really work in the factories and places that they needed to work at. Things were very military inspired during that time. Cleaner lines, their hats were very military inspired, even sometimes fashioned similar to a helmet. Pants were very controversial, especially in Mexico, because femininity was muy importante in their culture. However, along with the new fashion craze with pants, along came a designer named Armando Valdez Pesa, who really thought that the arts should inspire fashion, and he believed that he could take more modern styles but mix it with the indigenous or native. So he would take dresses with very clean lines, more simple, practical dresses, but he would pair them with a rebozo, which is a shawl that they'll use to cover their shoulders or their heads, called a rebozo, and he'd pair that with the dress and maybe modern updo. So he would take more native styles and mix it with the more modern. Today, styles in Mexico vary depending on where a person lives and what they do for a living. So a woman living in the city is less likely to have the pleats and ruffles than a woman living in the city. Women love the colorful shirts and long flowing dresses with ruffles. Mexico is a colorful country and their way of dress really reflects that. Mexican ambassador Lenora Rueda is quoted saying that, "I think it would be nice for women in general to mix blacks with more colorful clothes." Because they get tired of seeing all the blacks and browns, which are popular worldwide, but they would also really like to see some more colors mixed in with everything. Also, a very popular fashion in Mexico is called a huipile, which is a long flowing tunic, usually with lots of ruffles and because ruffles are very popular in Mexico, with very vivid patterns, and a lot of times patterns and embroidery, and a lot of times they're a very touristy thing, and they'll make them for the tourists to buy. They have taken a more modern twist by showing a little more cleavage and showing a little more skin, but the huipiles are very pretty. I had a picture of one, but it wouldn't show up. So, and I really wish I had one to show you because I think they're gorgeous. Style in Mexico now, like I said, typically depends on what a person does for a living and where they live, but generally, people in Mexico wear basically what we wear. Worldwide, people look to the United States, and Hollywood in particular, for fashion. So if you go to Mexico today, most of the people down there will be wearing something very similar to us. I hope mi perrito y yo helped you learn a little bit about fashion in Mexico. So thank you for listening.